What is going on, snipers? Naeem Al-Obeidi here. I hope you're all enjoying your day today. I am super excited to make this video. This is our daily update, but we're going to be talking about several different opportunities that I'm actually watching in the market right now, alongside with other coins, and why Steve Wozniak is saying that Ethereum is a lot like the early days of Apple. And I'm going to talk about why this is a significant proposition that's being made here by Steve Wozniak. About looking at the Bitcoin technical analysis that we have up right now, you can see we are still approaching that second bottom that we drew out several different times here. And the reason that we are approaching this, in my opinion, is being the fact that we're just not completely oversold yet. Now we are below this 40 in RSI here. We actually bounced right around 38, and now we're seeing a little bit of resistance right along that 40 to 45 in RSI. And in my opinion, this resistance right here is an indicator that we're most likely going to see lower price levels, because typically when the RSI sees any sort of support levels below that 40, in my opinion, it's a very bearish scenario, and typically that will play out with this RSI seeing these lower levels below 30, and then once Bitcoin becomes oversold, I think that's going to be the time in which the best positions are going to be able to be put in. And just think about every time Bitcoin bottomed out in the past, it wasn't ever a bottom where we went down and saw a green candle close on the daily and then that's it, we went up. It's typically a pretty exuberant downfall that we'd see before seeing any sort of significant rally up. And I think the reason we have to see that before seeing any higher price levels is because of the lack of volume in this market right now. If you go to this one-day chart, you can see there's a clear lack of volume here, where we've got this negative divergence flowing here with this volume. And in my opinion, in order for us to see more volume, we need more institutional investors with large pockets to deem this as a good price point to enter in a position. And I think that's only going to happen once we see one more downfall with this price down to that second bottom that we've got right around 7,700 before we see any sort of further upside. So I think anywhere between the 7,950 and 7,700 level would be the optimum price point to enter into a position here with Bitcoin. So now that we've talked about Bitcoin, I want to mention a article that I found today about Litecoin here, talking about how Litecoin has now become compatible with the Blockneck protocol, alongside with its Gemini listing that was announced alongside with the Zcash listing. And if you don't know what happened with Zcash, once that announcement was made, Zcash started to rally up. People realized that Gemini, if you don't know, is one of the most secure exchanges in the world. I actually use Gemini, and the reason I like to use Gemini is because it's not only an institutional grade platform, but it's an extremely simplified platform that allows you to make big transactions. And it's actually a platform that's been around for quite a while now, but they only accept Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's the only two coins that you can purchase. Now they're adding Litecoin, they're adding Zcash. But the cool thing about this is I realized everybody hyped up Zcash, but look at Litecoin. Litecoin didn't see any hype after that announcement, but it's also being listed, right? So it's also going to get it's going to be a beneficiary of all of the liquidity that's going to come in through the Gemini exchange. And then the other aspect of Gemini that I think investors often overlook is the fact that Gemini is primarily an institutional grade type of exchange. You know, them and Coinbase, those are the two exchanges that pretty much have insurance and have a lot of their paperwork in cooperation with the US government and other governments in that nature. So in my opinion, I think that Litecoin is right now undervalued in this regard. And if you actually look at what Litecoin is doing on these price levels, we are trying to break that EMA. If you see that light blue line in the back, that stands for the exponential moving average, and it's a good idea or a good indicator to utilize to see if we're going to break bullish or not. Like for example here, where we broke above the EMA, we were below it, and then we finally broke above it, and then that led to this run up that eventually turned into a run up that went all the way up to around over 60% in gains. So knowing that EMA is a very, very good sign to indicate a bearish or bullish scenario. Right now we are testing right on top of that EMA, trying to get above it. And I think that 50-day moving average that's sitting right here, if you see this 50-day moving average, we're right below it, finding resistance. And all we need to do is come above that 50-day moving average for us to see some higher price levels. Somebody says, where's the LaCroix? The claw. Here it is, baby. Let's pop the LaCroix. Bam. You always got to pop it, right? Dave says, how many likes to burn that polka dot t-shirt? How about 300 likes and we'll burn the polka dot t-shirt on the live stream? I don't know how that's going to happen, but interesting. So it's going to be interesting to watch what happens with Litecoin. I would say to be cautious when putting a position, because we did triple top here. If you see, we've got that triple top that can also be considered another type of pattern. But I would say that as this went ahead and saw resistance 3 times already along these price levels, there's a very big chance that we could just see Litecoin even drop down to these lower lows and find support along these lower support levels of around 1.4 million Satoshis rather than where it's at right now, which is around 1.6 million Satoshis. So I would be careful with Litecoin until it's above that 50-day moving average. Will I then see that as confirmation that we're going to be seeing higher price movements? And then once again, the reason I say that is not only is Litecoin has been consolidating quite well over the past few weeks, but it was also announced on Gemini, right? So Zcash, as you can see, as soon as that announcement was made, bounced right on that 50-day and saw this parabolic run up, and we'll most likely see higher price levels, it seems like, now that all this volume has started to come in. So I would definitely keep watch of that. Another awesome announcement that has taken the BNB coin up 23% today is Binance announcing double referral commission for BNB holders. Why is this important? Well, it's something that we've talked about in this live stream quite a lot, and it's the fact that the BNB coin, in my opinion, is one of the most undervalued coins in the market right now, being the fact that Binance is the leader in market exchanges right now, right? You've got all of these exchanges trying to become Binance, but Binance already has its hold upon the market. People are utilizing Binance, they like Binance, and they're going to use the BNB coin over time. More and more users will be using the BNB coin, and now with this announcement, more people are going to be hodling BNB. And like we talked about earlier in our live stream, BNB once again seeing all-time highs. So I hope that you were able to keep your BNB coins, upon the exuberance that it's seen over the past day or so. And I hope that you've been paying attention to Sniper Soup and you understand the fact that we are here to give you the most honest and the most accurate information as we can, right? We're not professional financial advice. You see that disclaimer right there, right? We're not professional, but at the end of the day, actually it's right there. But at the end of the day, we have to be able to actually understand this market, and intrinsic value and use case is one of the most important things with any of these asset classes, and especially if you're investing as a long-term investor or even as a swing trader. So I'm excited. Hopefully you were able to make some profits off of this BNB call. If not, what I would recommend is to hold off on it just for now, being the fact that we're entering these known resistance levels. Let us hit this resistance level like we already did, maybe see a little bit of retracement. If we go ahead and break out and close a daily candle above this resistance, then I think that we'll most likely see parabolic highs. But my overall opinion on the BNB coins is we're going to be following this ascending support level over time, because I am expecting this over time to start going higher and higher as they start to do more of these frequent coin burns and things of that nature. Whether we retrace here and start to bounce up, I am expecting higher highs over time here for the BNB coin alongside with Litecoin. So those are the two opportunities so far that we're talking about in this market. And let's move on to the Steve Wozniak article, because this to me is amazing. And I think all of you watching this live right now, like we've got Johan, Ahmed on the line, Ray Z, Snow Surfer, Tanner Lawley. I think that you guys are going to like this article, and I love it because Steve Wozniak is one of the most influential individuals in the world. He is the brains behind Apple. So Steve Jobs, if you don't know, he was kind of the guy that was out front, the extrovert, not really an extrovert, but he was the person that was out front. People knew who Steve Jobs was, and Steve Wozniak was just his partner in the background that Steve Jobs would go to and say, hey, we got to make this happen, and Steve Wozniak would make it happen. So he was like the Vitalik Buterin of the early ages of the dot-com bubble, as long, even pre-dot-com, before the internet, right? Because Apple has been around for some time. But what he said in a interview blew my mind, and I want to read this out to you because I think this is extremely important. You can see Wozniak said when we started Apple, our Apple II computer was a platform, and he's comparing Ethereum to Apple when it was starting off in the early days. And remember, in this market, we're looking for intrinsic value, right? We're looking for the coins that are going to be the next Apple. We're looking for the investments that are going to triple-fold, tenfold, hundredfold. And you can see here, he says, here's all the documentation, open source. You can see how the you can see how do you develop parts. Look at the examples we have done, how to develop software, how to modify the softwares in here. It was a platform for others. So thousands of companies started up. Sometimes high school kids started their own company, and then they'd be put up little ads in the little electronic journal, ads for my product for the Apple II. Everybody in the world was advertising for us, and we didn't have to. And it's exactly what's happening with Ethereum, right? You've got all of these ICOs being built on Ethereum, and then people are raising funds with Ethereum, and Ethereum doesn't have to do any sort of advertising. So guess what other coins are going to be doing this? EOS, for example, is another de-application platform. And that's why we've talked about de-apps as the best investments, in my opinion, right now in the early stages of this blockchain technology. So you see here, it says, everybody in the world was advertising for us and we didn't have to. So platforms is how the world can grow by opening up to millions of other smart people. The product that changed my life the most from Apple isn't the iPhone, it's the App Store. And I don't know if you guys have been watching Sniper Soup for, some time, but I've always compared Ethereum to the App Store, right? It's a platform for you to build applications on. And then he goes on and says the apps that are in the App Store, third-party apps developed by all the people with all the ideas all over the place, and that's an example of a platform. So it's exactly what Ethereum is doing, and it's cool to see it from somebody like from Steve Wozniak, because his perspective counts, in my opinion. He has the credibility to do so. So interesting article. What do you all think about that? What do you think, Ray? What do you think, Abhinav? Mr. T in the house. We got Dante in the house. Johan in the house. So another article here, Goldman Sachs releases ERC20 based stablecoin tied to the US dollar. Why is this important? Well, we have a ton of stablecoins coming out, and it's interesting to see this huge phenomena of stablecoins. If you don't know, there's 3 different types of stablecoins. I'm not going to go into the specifics, but stablecoins can be done in different ways, and it's interesting to see a major institution like Goldman Sachs coming in and releasing the stablecoin. And then to end off with a funny article here, I saw Consensus 2018, you guys got robbed and trolled. This got pretty high upvotes, actually, and it was interesting, and I wanted to address this really quick snippet of this, and I want to see what your opinion is. But it says here, pretty much they're talking about how everybody running Consensus are market makers that have sold, at the highs of the market. And then it says, if the SEC investigated these folks for insider trading, I can guarantee that 95% of them would end up in court. That clown Charlie Lee being the first of them. What do you guys think about that? I have nothing against Charlie Lee or against any of the individuals from Consensus, but I think that was interesting that people are finding support and trolling Consensus in that manner, and I think it has to do with Vitalik Buterin protesting and boycotting against Consensus, of course. So let's take some questions from our live audience before we wrap this baby up. We'll do a couple TAs just to see if we can find any good opportunities in this market, and then we'll wrap up this stream. So Stay Rock said, how do you get that dark theme in TradingView? The top right, you click settings, and then you click dark here where it says theme. So good question there. And Ahmed says, Neo and Nano oversold. So I saw some opportunity with Neo earlier today when I was looking at some charts, and I think that Neo is making a very, very nice opportunity for itself here. And I'm going to actually draw out a little bit of a different stance here just so you can see this 1-day chart so you can get a better perspective instead of going through like the 4-hour 1-hour charts on this live stream. I'd rather just do a 1-day chart, give you an idea of what I'm watching here. But understand we're still bearish with Neo. You can see we're under this EMA. If you open up this RSI, we're not completely oversold yet, but we're below 40. So I would play this in the most simplest form, the same way I play every coin that goes below 40. I would draw this as the resistance. It's most likely going to always see resistance here. And then once Neo can see itself go up and down, maybe even test that and then drop back down, I think once it touches this level right here, that's the optimum entry point. It's going to be down below that 30. So once it hits that, in my opinion, it's also going to go lower. It'll most likely test these known support levels here of right around 6,706 Satoshis on this chart. It might be 67,000, but 0.0067, and if it starts to retrace back down there and sees some support, it would be extremely predictable because it's obviously following this pattern. This is a known support level. So I would say wait a little bit there for Neo before entering in a position, but hopefully that has helped out a little bit. Bars D says, can ETH scale? Good question, Bars. So Ethereum can scale because of its nodes that are spread throughout thousands and thousands of nodes. So it does have the scaling ability. It just doesn't have the speed, right? So EOS doesn't necessarily have the type of scaling abilities that Ethereum comprises, which is a decentralized scaling method and a consensus model, versus EOS, which has a model in which it allows it to have more speed, right? Because they have data centers that are handling their nodes, and they only have 21 centralized nodes. So it allows it to be extremely fast, just not as scalable in a decentralized sense, if that's the type of consensus you're looking to receive. So that's the differences between those two. And that's why they'll never be the same, and why they're both polar opposite investments. And they're the two investments that most hedge funds are making right now, Ethereum and EOS. So CryptoZack says that's what Zilliqa is, the future. Zilliqa has been killing it. It was an awesome call that we made here on the stream. Ray Z puts the sunglasses up. Mr. T says cool. John Doe says, can you take a look at J8T? I haven't looked at that. Bars says, I just saw Vitalik help EOS. Yeah, if you don't know, Vitalik actually was going through EOS's GitHub, and is it GitHub or GitHub? I'm gonna get comments on that, whatever. Marius says, I sent you a message on Discord there. So Hastings Lewis says, are you still going to be doing TAs for day trades? Well, there haven't been day trades over the past couple of days. You have to understand capital preservation in this market, Hastings Lewis. So what that means is sometimes this market, it's more beneficial for you to swing trade the market than it is to day trade. And sometimes it's beneficial to just hold on to fiat on the side and wait for the market to correct itself. So for example, like if we were to make some trades over the past couple of days, guess what? The market's been down, right? So we're going to be losing money for no apparent reason, just because we're just not patient, right? And patience is a huge aspect of trading. The best traders are the most picky traders, right? Let the buying opportunities come to you. We're seeing a lot more success taking advantage of swing trades than we are seeing it just with day trades. So we're going to continue posting trend signals. However, we're focused right now on the premium technical analysis, which is these long-term swing trades that have huge opportunity. Like for example, one opportunity right now is Counterparty, right? Counterparty, in my opinion, is going to see a huge run up soon. The reason I say that is if you pull up this 1 week chart, you can see we are below this area here, and this is the demand zone. So this demand zone has always allowed Counterparty to see these parabolic run-ups. And this is another coin, in my opinion, that's going to see a run-up soon, knowing that on this weekly chart, we are at these lower levels. If you pull up the daily chart, you can see a very similar pattern here for me, right? We're starting to cup or form a cup, and that cup, in my opinion, is going to complete itself over time as it starts to see these exuberant levels to form that right side. So these type of scenarios, in my opinion, have more potential and have better opportunity with less risk, and that's why we're trying to focus on what can benefit our traders the most. Winston Smith says, still have no clue what cryptocurrency code does and the intended purpose of these hypothetical coins. Well, Winston Smith, do you understand the internet? Do you understand the different nodes that run on the internet? Do you understand SHA-256 when you're on Amazon purchasing? Do you understand what SSL protection is? No, for the most part, you don't understand that. And if you do, good for you. I might not understand it. I don't understand some of it, right? And you don't have to understand a technology in order for it to have mass adoption. Most people don't understand the internet. Most people don't know how they can log on to Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, Safari, and then access this interweb, right? It's this whole phenomenon that people just kind of overlook. So it's the same thing with blockchain and cryptocurrencies. You don't necessarily have to know how it works. As long as it works better than the previous technology, it's going to be adopted, just like how email took over traditional mail systems. So sorry for that little rant. There you go. Pierre says, pump on the last few minutes. Dane says, LOL's Polo Naeem. That's funny. Somebody says, what type of bets can we make for his likes? Oh my gosh, you and your likes and bets. Mr. T says, love your analysis. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hastings says, thank you for everything. You're the absolute best. I'm surprised you don't have the unlock. Thank you, Mr. Lewis. I appreciate that. We just got a super chat from Bars D. Checks out Nano. Why are we going to check out Nano? Let's check out Nano. Let's see if we've got a buying opportunity here with Nano. Looking at the daily chart, we are at these lower levels, approaching accumulation zone here. This was a previous analysis that was done here. Let me actually zoom out here. What I like about this chart here is if we were to pull this up, you can see we are at these lower price levels where in the past we've seen some clear levels of support and a bounce back. So there's almost an inevitable opportunity here for you to make profits off of this Nano trade. So I say that allow this RSI to see a little bit of these lower levels, and it wouldn't even hurt you to start dollar cost averaging at these levels that they're currently at. But I think that Nano is definitely going to be a big opportunity. You can see we've got this huge fractal formation here, and it's looking like it's going to form another fractal formation. The best time to buy in a fractal cup or whatever type of cup is in the bottom of the cup. And it's typically going to be the left or right corner of the cup. So I think that this is definitely an opportunity here. Nano is approaching this accumulation zone. It's a demand zone. Every time it's approached this zone, you can see history is a predictor of the past, right? Or history is a predictor of the future. Technical analysis, by the way, is historical patterns. Like, I think if I go on Google right now and type in technical analysis, some people are always arguing here, like, is technical analysis, like, why do you keep looking at the history? Like, the history doesn't matter. That's what technical analysis is. Look, I'm sure it says it in the definition, right? Look, yes, it does. Past market data. So technical analysis by book definition is forecasting the direction of prices throughout the study of past market data, primarily price and volume. So it's funny, people always try to negate that, but I'm an analyst. I've been doing this for so long, and I will clearly tell you that you're wrong, and you are. If you think that past data doesn't matter, it does matter, right? Every time we've hit these levels, look what happened. We saw this parabolic run up, right? And that's what we're seeing now. We're back down to these lower levels, and Nano is an awesome project that has had a lot of development over the past couple of months. And if you've ever used Nano, you know it's something that works. So I would say this is also a great opportunity there. Winston says, didn't answer my question. You just got triggered. What do you mean? What was your question, Winston? Let's see. He says, still have no clue what cryptocurrency code does and the intended purpose of these hypothetical codes. Well, you never asked a question, Mr. Winston Smith, so stop trying to get smart, brother. You said a statement, so I went ahead and responded with a statement. So Crypto G says, how do you get that RSI view? Right-click, insert indicator, and then type in the relative strength index, and that stands for the RSI, relative strength index here. And the RSI, the way you use it, anything over 70 is overbought. Anything approaching 60 is going to go bullish. Anything below 30 is oversold. Anything approaching 40 is going bearish. Shaw A says, LOL. Barzy says, I love you, Naeem. No homo. Brother love. I appreciate that. Ron says, what did you say on Vitalik talking about EOS's? He was just on the GitHub with on EOS, and he was commenting from what I saw, Ron Thomas. I didn't go into the full article, but Vitalik went into EOS's GitHub and was helping them out pretty much, which was really cool. I don't know if I'm mistaken, but I'm pretty sure I think he found a bug. I don't know if he did or not, but he may have found a bug, or it was just a comment, which would have been awesome. Emax says 200 likes and Naeem dumps a LaCroix on his head. I will take that bet. Let's do 200 likes and I'll dump this LaCroix on my head before the end of this stream. Look at the likes starting to soar through the roof. Man, everybody's watching on their phones. They're like trying to change the orientation and click the like button. It's funny. What are we at? We just went over 100. Oh my gosh, it's going really fast. I wouldn't mind doing that. I'd ruin my shirt and make a little scene. I don't know if you guys have that capability. We have 273 viewers, and we're saying 200 likes, and we dump this on my head. So I think that's a fair bet. We have over 78 plus viewers to make that bet happen. Let's see, we're at 126 likes. So we need less than 80 more likes, and we'll do it. Joshua says, man, that shirt is too nice. Shy, do you still trade stocks? Absolutely not. I do have some long-term holds on this in the stock market, but for the most part, because of the volatility that I saw in the cryptocurrency market in comparison to the stock market, I saw a lot more opportunity in the cryptocurrency market. And I've been around at Bitcoin since 2010. I used to accept Bitcoin payments. I was a machinima director. I was making gaming videos on YouTube, and I needed a way to accept payments, but I couldn't use PayPal. So I was like, why not find a different alternative? And I found Bitcoin. And at the time, Bitcoin was trading less than $100. And when I was using Bitcoin, I was just using it for payments and transactions. I didn't have the foresight to see that it was going to become a storage of value. So looking back at hindsight, I would have stored a ton more. But in 2014, I started to realize this technology was becoming something great. And I started to realize that there's a ton of volatility in this market, and it's an asset class that can be traded. And that's when I liquidated all of my funds in the traditional markets, and I went straight into the crypto markets. And that's really where I started to hone in on the differences of the different blockchains, what these blockchains represent, and all of the other technicals that are involved with the cryptocurrency market, as well as the technology behind it, which is the blockchain. So somebody says, what do the numbers in the Fibonacci mean? Dave Christian. That's actually a really good question. So there was a guy, just to keep it short, there was a guy back in the day, and his name, I think his last name was Fibonacci, and he created this mathematical equation in which every Fibonacci level is an arithmetic or arithmetically proven to be a psychological level of support or resistance for any asset class. So it's something that's been around for decades and decades and decades. Dane Creases name, do you even lift? Yes, we do lift here at Sniper's Tube. You've got to, health is wealth, right? We're at 164. Oh my gosh. Might have to dump that. Brett McKelvey says, check out Discord. Absolutely. Mando says, you asked for it, like. All right, well, I think we're going to be wrapping things up soon. I don't necessarily know if there's any more that we want to go through. Any other requests that you guys have for these coins? Somebody says, Winston, these coins are used just like fiat currency. For example, Steemit, decentralized social media, only accepts Steem dollars. You know what I love about Steemit? It's one of the best use cases of blockchain technology in the world, and that is without a doubt. And it's the most widely adopted use case of blockchain technology. Matthew says he is messing with us. Yes, all right, so if we hit 2,000 likes, I have to dump this LaCroix on my head. I can't believe we're almost there. That's ridiculous. I did not expect that. We're at 171 likes. So we're about to hit 200. We're most likely going to hit 200 now that I announced it, and we have almost 300 viewers. I'm going to have to dump this. Oh, my gosh. This is not going to be fun. The likes are coming. We're at 175 now. Oh, man. We'll do EOS TA while we're praying that the likes don't hit 200. Man, why did I make that bet? Oh my gosh, we're at 189. I can't believe I'm going to have to do that. I can't believe it. It's going to hit 200 by the end of this dang live stream. Okay, let's just go through this. So we're correcting down to that 50-day moving average. In my opinion, like I've talked about before, we're seeing these bearish levels below this EMA. This blue line here is the exponential moving average. We're below the EMA. We're heading towards that 50-day moving average. Just be patient. Allow this to come to you. I think that the best opportunities are going to come once we see a large amount of sellers come into this market out of nowhere, and then that's going to bring that price down to touch that 50-day moving average, and we'll most likely see support, knowing that this is an intrinsically valuable coin in this market. So somebody says 200, right? We hit 200, so I'm going to have to dump this LaCroix all over myself as soon as we're done with this live stream. Oh my gosh. Do we just go into it? I guess we got to just go into it. So, all right, guys, let's go into this misery. Do we need music for this? What type of music should we post for this? We need some sad music here. I need some Titanic music. This is not going to be fun, but it is what it is, right? You got to do what you got to do. Oh, man. No music. Let's just hit it. Let's just hit it. All right, 200 likes. Thank you all for 200 likes. And we got to do it. Oh, man. Oh! Thank you all for watching. The best community in the world. Snipers out.